Like the season hasn't been fun enough for both of these Yanks and Mets, huh? You got to throw a little Juan Soto into the hopper. Let's go. 10:02 on the Fan. What's happening, everybody? It's the Tiki and Tierney Show. Hopefully you had a great weekend. So, listen, first of all, with the... wow, it is a big deal. Of course, it's a huge story. And there are some stories in sport where, it kind of hits it hits Twitter or something's leaked, and you kind of know it's a whole lot of nothing. But yet, there's a lot of energy around it, and it's still fun to talk about. But you kind of know it's going nowhere. This is not that. I mean, obviously, Juan Soto's not staying on the Nationals. I mean, we've all seen this a million miles away. It just seems as if the timeline's been sped up. All right, let's go through this piece by piece. Number one, all right, the first great thing here is that both the Yanks and the Mets are dealing from a position of strength, all right? Neither team is desperate, complete opposite. So any deal that might be consummated now before the trade deadline, the Yanks and the Mets aren't going to flinch out of desperation. That's a good thing. There's a time to make a deal. There's a time to avoid making a deal, and you generally want to avoid making a deal when things have gone awry because your sensibility is blurred and generally you're on the wrong side of the deal. That's not going to be the case here, all right? That's number one. That's good. Number two. For at least more so from a Yankee point of view, there was a point where Juan Soto to the Yankees would be an absolute done deal, no-brainer, no doubt. You look, he's going to be a Yankee, We all remember those days. Those days are over. And really, those days are over for two reasons. Number one, the Yankees have changed, or at the very least, they've tweaked their economic mandate and mandates. And number two, Steve Cohen. Because now there's two New York teams who are doing the bidding, and it seems as if the role of big spender is in the process of flipping. All right? Here's why, and I heard this a lot over the weekend, and even my man Hoff. Hoff, when were you on this weekend, by the way? With the early birds?
I was on,
all the drunks
Sunday
coming
2
home?
to 6. Sunday 2 to 6 in the morning.
Oh, everybody drunk calling you up, everybody out of their
It
minds.
felt that way. A lot of people were. It was a very interesting debate.
Yeah, well, I mean, they got to be drunk to call you. Why else would they call you?
Because of my good looks?
But listen, I heard a lot, especially from Hoff and the callers and all the interactions you guys had with him. And one thing does blow my mind, or at least on the very least, makes me, push back a little bit. And it's this. I keep hearing Judge or Soto. Keep hearing, Judge or Soto. Again, specific to the Yankees. I know the Mets are obviously a huge variable here as well, but Judge or Soto. Why? Why not both? Well, you could say, dummy, did you hear what you said to start the show? Out of your own mouth, the Yankees' economic mandates and way of doing business has changed. Well, so that's, yes, quite literally, that might be the reason why it's not Judge and Soto, okay? Because in the old days, it would have been Judge and Soto. But you know what? It's a different time, as we know. I was thinking about this morning, too, and you look at some of the big moves the Yankees have made over the years, and this encompasses decades, so a lot of this is, old stuff, so just bear with me for a little bit. But you look at least post-free agency, you look at Reggie, and I'm going to focus on the sticks, not the arms. Reggie, if I said to the average Yankee fan, even those old enough to have remembered when Reggie came here after the 76 World Series, hey, how old do you think Reggie was when the Yankees got him? Yeah, you probably get like 26, 27. Reggie was 31, okay? Dave Winfield was 29. Even Matsui was 29 after all those great years in Japan. Giambi, now, I mean, we didn't really know. I guess we probably should have surmised that something was, a little askew with Jason. Anyway, Jason was 31 in terms of what was authentic and what was not. 31 years old. More recently, A-Rod was 28, and Stanton also was 28. Now, that is, since free agency, mid-70s, that is just, and there's been trades, obviously, not everything's a free agent acquisition, but when was the last time? When was the last time, you can even now, when you roll the Mets in here, Piazza had great years with the Dodgers before. Hernandez won the MVP with the Cardinals in 79. Like, when was the last time either the Yankees or the Mets got a player? Gary Carter, obviously, was still great and the missing piece for the Mets, 86 Mets. But, he was, I don't know, he wasn't past his prime, but he was certainly in his prime when he came here. Last time a young, still ascending, and that's what's so crazy about Juan Soto. He is still ascending. The guy's played 550 major league games. You don't think he's getting better? Oh, yeah, he is. Last time the Yanks or the Mets got a still ascending, undeniable, no doubt about it, nothing to debate, absolute top-notch, grade A, first ballot Hall of Fame superstar in this prime. When was the last time that happened? I'll wait. When was the last time it happened? And speaking of Hall of Fames and all those other, platitudes I just threw out, I was watching some of the draft last night, right? And, yeah, listen, it's not the NFL draft. I get that. Some of these kids, well, actually all of these kids outside of, maybe the sons of the former major leaguers, and, of course, the kid the Mets drafted a year ago who went third this year from Vandy. You don't know who these kids, neither do I, right? We won't hear about these kids. But the thing about baseball, or most of these kids we won't hear about ever again, really, unless you're a complete baseball nerd. And you're jumping on, Baseball Cube, Baseball Reference, watching minor league games, whatever. Last night with the draft, why do you draft somebody? You draft somebody with especially high, with the hope that this is a franchise alterer, okay? And when the player ascends and goes through the various rungs of our minor league development, maybe you started at high A, you jump to double A, bang, you zoom right to the bigs. Maybe you start at low A, and maybe you go more conventionally, double, triple, boom. Everybody's route is different. But what's the ultimate goal? The ultimate goal is to identify a young high school or college player and say, we believe this is a future star. Again, first round stuff. And eventually, if that comes to fruition, if you're lucky enough to be right, and most of the names last night ain't going to make it, but if they do, you want to be in the enviable position of having that player maximize or not even certainly maximize, but validate your pre-draft stance on that player and draft night stance, and then eventually you say, you know what? You are what we thought you'd be. You're so awesome. Here's all the money in the world. You deserve it. Well, that's where we are with Juan Soto. The difference is neither the Yankees nor the Mets drafted him, but he's had the little laboratory in D.C., as I said, 500-something games at this level, came up when he was 19. Hey, honestly, he might be the best young hitter I've ever seen. Honestly. So when you look at the complexity, and this is what I think a lot of people, well, not even missing. I think you're selectively ignoring. All right. I don't see how this deal occurs before the trade deadline. I just don't see how it happens. There's too many moving parts, too many prospects that you will have to scout, with great vigor and vigilance. And do so in like a 2-week period. You know what I mean? So, number one, that makes it tough. And, you've got to hammer out the extension, which I don't see him being dealt without that extension in place. Now, let's get to the sensitivity of the emotions, because we don't need to waste anybody's time. Of course the Yankees should make a move. Of course the Mets, that's a no-brainer. Of course. But, and this is not to sound insensitive, and I love him, and he's my son's favorite player. Do I really care about Aaron Judge's feelings right now? No. And neither should the Yankees themselves. This is so rare. This is so unexpected, so infrequent, that whatever you are subscribing to from a business point of view and from a player development point of view, you scrap it, man. You say that's awful. I mean, this was working, but Juan Soto's available, so whatever we were doing, we're done doing that. We're going after Juan Soto. Now, the crazy thing is, I know the Mets will be sitting at this table. You know it. They'll be sitting at the table, and they'll say, deal me my 2 cards, and let me see what I get. I don't know if the Yankees are going to sit at this table. I don't know. But as I really thought about this, I know I hit you with a lot of different aspects there because, there are, it's a very complex, he's 23. 23. And you're going to hammer out a trade of this magnitude in 2 weeks? No, again, I don't think that will happen. But you better be prepared to have your resources allocated and your mindset altered if he is about to be dealt in 2 weeks. Meaning, if you're the Yankees and you're holding on to all these prospects, hey, Volpe, I've been saying from day one, of all the, you take Dominguez, take them all. Volpe's got to stay, Jersey kid. Nope, not for Juan Soto. Bye-bye. Mets have a great catch. Alvarez, Beatty, see ya. Gotta go. It's Juan Soto. We don't need you. It's Juan Soto. So you do everything. And when I say it's Juan Soto, that is dripping with the amount of reverence akin to me saying a 25-year-old, I don't know, Magic Johnson's available. Or 25-year-old Larry Bird is available. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where we are, man. So you do whatever you got to do. You scrap every other plan, but you also navigate this little winding road. And this is the best part for the Yanks and the Mets. Neither team's desperate. Yanks are kicking the crap out of everybody. By the way, that Friday night loss, I know it's after, 2 bludgeonings, which was nice. That loss bothered me so much on Friday. I mean, I know there's some lunatics like Evan, and that's a compliment. Like, he won't fall asleep if the Mets lose that kind of a game. I'm going to bed, dude. I got games to go, and I love my sports, and I love my baseball. Come on. I'm in my late 40s. I got 2 kids. I'm coaching. I'm working. I'll be, Lord willing, I wake up tomorrow. I'll be okay. It's not the ALCS. But that loss really pissed me off. Just as a sidebar, really bothered me. So nice to see him slap around the socks after it. All right. So there's, of course, the main piece of the puzzle is Soto. But the subsets of that would be the Judge dynamic, the prospects for both the Yankees and the Mets. All right, 877-337-6666. Tiki is out, by the way. He's getting drunk in Ireland. I saw his tweets over the weekend. He was banging them both back. He had a Guinness and a Scotch. Look at Tiki doing it up. He's back tomorrow. He had to fly out there to shoot a TV show. What was a game show, right? So he's back tomorrow. We're inside of our Town Fair Tire studio. Our friends at Town Fair remind you that at Town Fair you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Let me leave you with this one thought before I get to you. I started if I really go back, we're a strong visual. I really remember watching the 81 World Series. I remember that. Like, I remember my parents, they may have gone to go, I think for whatever reason, God, it's crazy what sticks out in my head. Although, watch, I'm going to be off by a year. I feel like they were going to see Raging Bull that night, right? So we had a babysitter. And I remember keeping my eyes up, forcing myself up to watch that World Series. Bob Watson, I remember this one game, Bob Watson hit an opposite field home run to right field. I actually remember that. So that's really what I started watching baseball, like in earnest, every single night. And inhaling, consuming, playing, cards, going to games. And then obviously my dad is a Mets fan, watching Doug Flynn, Mazzilli, all those guys, right? I say this because Neil Allen, Pat Zachary, those Mets teams, I have never seen a player like Juan Soto. I've never seen a player like Juan Soto. I mean, Mattingly's in a different category. before the back injury because that's Stan Musial. And all the other greats, and I don't need to run. We know who they are. But this guy is, it's Juan Soto. That's it. It's Juan Soto. All right, 877-337-6666. Let's start with Joel up in the Bronx on this Monday morning on the Fan. What's happening, buddy?
What's going on, BT? How you doing?
What's up, player? How are you today? You good?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks.
Yeah.
So as far as the last superstar trade, I was thinking maybe A-Rod because we got him. He was still pretty young. He wasn't old.
He was 28.
Yeah. So I mean, A-Rod, Henderson. Maybe, and obviously Babe Ruth, because I can't remember his age when the Yankees got him from Boston. But, I mean, he did well all his years with the Yankees.
Oh, yeah.
And then on lower level, you got Tino and Paul O'Neill and David Justice. David Justice was a little bit past his prime, but he was big in that 96.
Oh, he was vital. No, way past it, but incredibly vital, no doubt. No, and listen, Alex Rodriguez, if Alex didn't have the whole steroid stuff and, then again, he did what he did. He accomplished what he accomplished. I'm not going to hold it against these guys forever. On some level, I guess I might. But, whatever. It is what is. Product at the times. But A-Rod was as close as you could get to this because Reggie was 31. Reggie was 31 when the Yankees got him. Even Winfield was 28, 29.
Correct.
So
I forgot about Dave.
You got to get So let me ask you this, Joel. If you are, because this is what the Yankees will need to internally navigate. Number one, the ultimate price point. All right, that's primary because they've changed their financial vision. But would you worry if you're the Yankees? Would you worry about doing this thing with Soto and alienating Judge? Would you worry about that?
No, I would not. Well, Judge is what, 30?
Yeah.
So he's 30 compared to Soto, who's 24. So you got 7 years on him already. And I don't understand why they're doing this financial thing. You got Cohen on the other side who doesn't give a flying you-know-what. We can't be doing that. We have the money. I don't know what the stats are as far as financials when we pay the luxury tax and that money goes across the board to other clubs.
Yep.
Are they spending that money?
Sure. A lot of times, Joel, thanks for the call. They reinvest it in the minors, and a lot of times the reinvestment is where you can't necessarily see it. And listen, Tiki and I have talked about this. I understand the frustration. Imagine subsidizing another radio station. You come out here, you pour your heart and soul into a station. I'm talking about FAN in totality. I don't mean me. I mean everybody, obviously. And, there's some little fledgling station out there that's trying to survive, and we're cutting off a little, boom, here you go. Here you go. Go find yourself some radio talent. I mean, that doesn't seem tenable. So I get it fundamentally, but that's such a smallish piece of the puzzle. I'm like, the revenue stream, I was just down there for my mother-in-law's 70th birthday. And we started in St. Pete, and then we went down to Disney. Oh, God. Disney, 5 days in July again. But anyway, and it was great. But we passed the drop. My son's like, look at that dump. First of all, it looks like it's sideways. It looks like it's crooked. And when you go to some of these other markets, and not to disparage St. Pete and that area, but the lack of revenue stream hits you in the face, So, no, I don't want to hear this poverty nonsense. Because I know the economic state of the entire game has changed. But if Big George was here, Soto would be on the team in 2 weeks. He'd be on the team in 2 weeks. And now, from a Yankee point of view, now that Big Steve is here, you have to wonder if he's going to be in Queens in 2 weeks or next year. 877-337-6666. Massive story. Listen, we're doing this all day. All right, we'll have a little fun with the home run derby later, but we'll get all these calls in. What would you give up? Would you completely pivot, give up the prospects, all that stuff on the table? Hey, it's Juan Soto.